What makes you get out of bed in the morning? How about a better question? What makes you want to get out of bed in the morning? My name is Ian Currey and this is Thinking Out Loud. Come on, let me tell you what I think. Motivation is an interesting thing, isn't it? We've just got a second dog, which you may hear barking in the background, and I think we'd forgotten how easy our first dog is and how much work a puppy can be, and Shadow is a big puppy. Sparky is an old dog and loves to loll around all day. Now he'll come and demand attention, mostly wanting his ears scratched or his belly rubbed. That's the easy part. Sparky's a lovely dog and he'll just about fit on your lap. Now he'll take up all of your lap and you won't be able to do much, but there he sits. Shadow, on the other hand, Shadow is not Sparky. She's much bigger. She's full of energy and barely fits anywhere. She's not worked out how to walk downstairs without ending up in a crumpled heap, and has more energy than I ever remember any dog having. So what on earth was the motivation for letting Shadow move in? Well, several things tipped that decision. Firstly, I enjoy walking and need to, and Sparky has shown less and less interest in going much further than around the lake, and that takes just about 20 minutes or so. We're both softies for rescue dogs, and this one is a handful and wasn't likely to find a home unless a commitment to a lot of work were there. Now, we'll be fine, but it's going to take time and effort. I'm off work a lot over the next couple of months, and so now is as good a time as any if we're going to do this. Today, I'm thinking about motivation. I asked, what makes you get out of bed in the morning? Well, in our house right now, preventing little puppy accidents is motivation enough. I must say, outside today was well below freezing, and going outside with Shadow rather than laying in a cozy bed for another half hour did make me question several life choices. Recently too, being off work, I've found time to work on the model railway in the basement. There are a good number of videos on that on the Trains of Thought channel, and there's a link up here if you want to watch the trains go by. I found the train room is something that helps me a great deal. Let me explain. Sometimes we all get discouraged or disappointed by a situation, or perhaps more often by people who let us down. Why can't people do what they say they're going to? Why isn't life fair? And why do I seem to get punished for doing the right thing? It would be very easy to pull back and stay away from situations that you know are likely to hurt over and over again. Some would say that would be the wise thing to do. But there's another side to it, isn't there? It would have been wise not to take Shadow in, wouldn't it? Sometimes we know doing whatever it is the right thing to do, so we kinda have to do it, even if it hurts. The train room gives me a chance to get away from it all and do something that I just don't care if people don't think I'm doing it right. The famous modeller's line, "My railway, my rules," perhaps applies more than we can imagine. You've heard me talk about being down in the dumps previously. I get to that place sometimes when things don't go the way they're supposed to, or people are just mean. I've often wondered what drives me down there. What puts me down in the dumps in the first place? Having had plenty of time to think long and hard about that, I think one of my main dump drivers is when you do the right thing, the thing you know to be the right thing, and perhaps you've taken one for the team or something, as it were, and not only do you get no thanks, well, if we only ever did things for thanks, we'd never do anything, would we? But sometimes it even seems like you get punished for doing the right thing. So often these days, bad behavior seems to be somehow rewarded. When we see people doing exactly what everyone knows they shouldn't, rewards seem to be heaped on them. It's not fair. No, it isn't. And I can hear my mum saying, "You'll learn to live with that. Life isn't always fair." I don't think I ever fully learned that lesson, or at least I don't want to. I often think to myself that part quote, "Why do the wicked prosper?" None of my business. Let it go is the simplest answer I can come up with. Now there's a lovely passage that Paul wrote to the Galatians. Let me read a little of it to you. This is from a longer section that speaks of harvesting what we plant. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. The trouble is that it sometimes doesn't seem like that works at all. What do you do then? I know Paul says, don't give up, don't get tired of doing what is good, but it's hard not to sometimes. For me, while that is discouraging, I ask myself, okay, so what would you do instead of doing the right thing? Instead of doing what is good? My logical brain kicks in fairly fast. I'm not willing to do the wrong thing, the thing that would be bad, despite the good not working. The third option is do nothing at all, neither good nor bad. But is that really an honest option? Can you actually do nothing when good is there to be done? The whole idea of doing nothing and letting really bad situations get even worse seems to me to be implicit tolerance. No. So while I do go and hide and play trains to get my head straight sometimes, often in fact, I quickly bounce back and get on with doing what is right, despite the pain I know it's likely to cause me. Injustice is really horrible, isn't it? I believe the cause of so much mental anguish these days. Being wronged, though, is no excuse for becoming a turtle, going into your shell and moving oh so slowly. When you really love people, it's hard to hold a grudge, even if they really deserve it. Love Defined is the theme of another of Paul's writings. The whole chapter there in his first Corinthian letter is an attempt to explain how it works. Phrases like love never gives up can be found there. But here's a sentence that strikes home in this context. Love does not demand its own way. It is not irritable and keeps no record of being wronged. Keeping no record of being wronged. That's a hard one, isn't it? That will drive you to do the same thing over and over again, despite the seemingly poor outcome. Coming back to our what makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, that question, and with that attitude, the attitude of always wanting to do the right thing, I think what motivates me is another opportunity to do the right thing, despite the consequences. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.